We take debt very lightly, but debt is one thing that if you don't know how to manage it, you're in a lot of trouble. Money you can't pay, you don't need it. If you don't know how to repay it within the stipulated timelines that you've been given, maybe you don't need that money. Because money you can't repay puts you in a cage. You end up in situations of a lot of compromise. People compromise their families, people compromise their health, people compromise their countries in their leadership, people compromise their businesses, people compromise their properties, people compromise everything, saying, I'm going to repay it. But you forget one thing, interest keeps accruing. Whether someone will use your inflation rate of their country or the global inflation rate, at the end of the day, interest keeps accruing. And it keeps compounding. And by the time you know it, that 100 shillings turned into 2,000. Look at how mortgage goes. The thing is, if you don't need it and if you can't repay it, leave it alone. It doesn't hurt to live a very simple life that you can afford over living a lavish life, which eventually will put you in a lot of trouble. We see couples now selling off their own couples. For example, someone has taken a debt, very big debt from someone very powerful. That person says, fine, you can't repay me. I want your spouse. Simple and clear. I don't want them as my partner. But when I say this, I want them. You decide. Is that not happening? Are we not witnessing parents who are very questionable, giving off their little children, boys or girls? Others even getting married off. Are we not seeing people losing their dignity? Saying, even if I sleep with 3 or 4, 5 people, I'll be able to repay. No, you won't. You'll just get more diseases. Unless you don't get the diseases. So many soul ties. And if the soul tie isn't enough, your health, your mental, your emotional will break down. Doesn't matter how many people you allow into your body. It will break you one soul after another. Because after every soul that you're tying yourself with, you can't untie. And it will destroy you. You may not get the diseases, but it will destroy you. And that's the problem with debt. In campus, I recall, there's this fund for tertiary level. And so I would see someone take a lump sum, a lot of money at the time. And you'd think they'll repay off their school fees. No. And before I knew that, I'd noticed a pattern in campus. People had the latest smartphone, the latest this, the latest that. Smartphone at that time wasn't that common. We didn't have the touch screen. It was touch screen, I think very few, but it wasn't like that. It was just the current phones that with the new features. It was like Nokia was still in the game. Because I remember I had the Nokia 1110, 3310, and then there's this other type of Nokia where after like a month, the keypad, it expands. That's what I had. And yeah, and Motorola C118. So yeah, the smartphones were still not into the game, but they were still coming up. And I'll see guys spend. I mean, in campus, all the nice chicks, guys are partying like 2080. They're good times. Me, I'm there, I'm thinking I'm going home. I have a cousin who was 3 years there, and I'm going to take care of him. But these guys used to live their life. When I started doing my investigation, it was the helpman, and I told them, guys, this money is going to eat you up. They'll tell me, oh, you don't know anything. You poor man, you poor this. I'm like, okay, cool. Years later, I've met them. They look broken. You know what? That money they were eating, accrued interest, and they have to pay it. When they get their jobs or their businesses, they must pay it. When a country accrues debt and never accounts for it, their citizens are put in danger. So if there's a war or a proxy war, your citizens are thrown into that situation. And it gets even scary when you think about it, because now their freedom is taken. We have all this taxation, all these policies, everything to bind the citizens. And last week when you had that WHO kind of pandemic plan, we can already see another new lockdown coming. Only this one's going to be even more scary, because with AI in the game, only God knows what we're in for. And when that's over, after they have already messed up the current financial situation, we're in for the war of the horrors. The thing is, debt destroys. If you can't manage it, leave it alone. If you can't repay it, don't take it. And it's good to manage your debt. Yesterday, I had gone to the market, and so I always carry a sticky note. I've written what I want. I have my sticky note, my pencil, and I have my money manager app side by side. So when I pay, I update the money manager there and then, and at the same time, I cross-reference it with the sticky note. So I remember I was buying peas. So when I was buying, the lady was selling. She was like, "Oh, I know your thing." So she gave me what I could afford, because I told her this is my budget. And I remember yesterday I did a lot. I got many discounts actually, because I was within my budget. There are things I couldn't afford. I only buy what I can. I remember even one vendor told me, you come with excess money. And I told them, will you pay it for me? No, thank you. So I use what I have. Because if you're not careful, money you can't repay, it's going to chain you, and you're going to do things you should never have done. Get into spaces and places you should never have gotten yourself into. You're doing your wedding, for example, and you can't afford it. You take so much debt, you impress people. Congratulations. But your marriage starts going down a very dark path. Especially for these ones where there are actual committees. I normally say sometimes this wedding committee business, unless you are delegating someone within your wedding to do something, but this committee business where people are paying into your wedding and all that, walk away from that. Because I've seen what that does to people. I've actually been placed in one of those, and I was like, yeah, this is never going to happen to me again. The thing is, if you cannot afford it, if you don't know how to repay it, stay away from that debt. Work with what you have. Hold yourself accountable to the lifestyle that you live. It's better to live in a very small place, but you owe no one no debt. Because once you owe debt, you are the mercies of the one who credited to you that money. Whether it's a bank, whether it's a country, whether it's a family member, whether it's a Shylock, whether it's a gang, mafia, wherever it may be, or wherever it may be. If it's a country, you start allowing extremist groups to train in your country to fight proxy wars on the other country. Then you put your country in a lot of danger, because the other country says it's the people of that country. Debt is dangerous. It destroys more than people even see. You will say, I'm going to work and repay it. You think your body can put up with the pressure to that long? Your body will break. Look at most of the people who move as immigrants in most of the Western nations. They see lives, they start spending. Sometimes I used to ask myself, why do they stay for so long? Then I started doing my little research, and I realized, some of them would live such a lavish life, but now they have to repay, because the interest rates there are not a joke. And they can't run from that country and come to their motherland. Where will they get the money for the ticket? You think that government doesn't know you want to run? They already have those measures well taken care of. You have to repay till the day you drop. And remember, when you're dropping, any family member who's there keeps repaying it. And that is always good to know the type of debt your family has. If you are married, if you have your parents, it's always important, so that you don't find yourself taking that debt. And you should be very strict, to a point whereby people say, me, I can't be able to tell so-and-so about being my guarantor, because that person will ask me ABCD questions. It is better to be called mean. It is better. I've been dumped so many times because I'm not giving out money, because I'm like, I don't have. Whatever I have is ABCD. And someone say, you are like this. I'm like, you go to your father, you go to your mother, you go wherever you're going. You have that money, you go. Me, I don't. Me, I'm not going to put myself in debt. Don't put yourself in debt to impress anyone. So remember, if you can't afford it, if you don't know how to repay it, You don't need it. Stay away from debt you have no idea or you can't repay, and you don't even know how to sort it out. Debt chains you, chains families, chains nations, and destroys eventually. If it's not worth it, maybe you just never needed it. Just think about it.